We reached the battle between Yatos and Ming in the previous episode. Yatos had managed to bind Ming, completely paralyzing him. However, Ming recalled his memories with Lu and how Lu had saved him, deciding to use all his power to fight back. Thanks to this, Ming's shadow emerged, shattered the chains, and his killing intent petrified Yatos in place. Yatos was about to die, but the Demon King intervened and saved him at the very last moment. Meanwhile, Lu had reached the city's palace, attacking with his spear and killing a massive number of monsters. In retaliation, the monsters unleashed their corrupt energy, conjuring chains that wrapped around Lu and pierced his armor. It was only a matter of time before the chains reached his physical body. Suddenly, before anything could happen to Lu, a terrifying roar echoed through the area. Everyone watched as a colossal corpse, dozens of meters long, flew through the air at an incredible speed, crashing through buildings. Finally, the corpse landed among the monsters, crushing several of them, and skidded across the ground. The cause of this was, of course, Ming, who began to step calmly onto the battlefield. When the monsters saw him, they were absolutely terrified and shocked, because the corpse that had just fallen was none other than Yatos. No one could believe what was happening. Lu took advantage of the distraction, broke free from the chains, and looked at Ming. He noticed Ming wasn't in top condition, so he decided not to let him use the Eye of Death skill, as it would negatively affect him. Lu immediately moved out, charging back at the monsters to eliminate the rest of them. But things weren't going to be that simple. During the fight, Lu noticed black smoke completely engulfing the area. From the midst of this smoke emerged a gigantic monster's shadow wearing terrifying armor. Even though Lu was protected by the butterfly shield, he could feel the immense danger radiating from this beast. Suddenly, an evil laugh echoed, and a monster appeared next to the shadow, stating, "This shadow was formed from the power of the sixth ring, and it even contains a fraction of the original king's power." The shadow fully materialized and immediately spoke, declaring, "I want to kill Ming." Lu acted quickly, wielding the Heavenly Destiny Sword and casting regeneration and enhancement spells on Ming to boost his power. Ming's strength surged, and the moment the enhancement was complete, Ming and the shadow charged at each other, causing a terrifying collision. Ming then stepped back slightly, unleashed his fire, and stomped his foot on the ground to activate his domain. As he did, blazing black fire erupted, covering the entire area and forming a literal tornado of fire that swept away everyone within its reach. The tornado exploded, sending massive numbers of monsters flying. Ming stood his ground and roared fiercely. Once again, he unleashed terrifying flames that shot into the sky like erupting volcanoes. The surviving monsters realized this was their end. With no other options, they expelled all their corrupt energy and channeled it into the shadow to empower it. The shadow evolved from this massive influx of energy, even sprouting wings. Its domain clashed violently with Ming's domain, creating a hurricane-like collision. Lu and the remaining monsters were reduced to mere spectators. No one dared to intervene in such a battle, knowing they would instantly die. Meanwhile, in a distant palace, a humanoid figure sitting on a throne opened his eyes and generated a colossal amount of corrupt energy. This energy took the form of a beam that shot directly into the shadow, entering its body. With this, the shadow gained new consciousness and intellect. It opened its eyes, looked at Ming, and said, "This beast is truly terrifying, and its potential is legendary." Ming glared back and charged at it with blinding speed. He pierced through the shadow's gray domain, fearlessly closing the distance. With his claws extended, he delivered a devastating strike that destroyed everything in its path. Spooked by this overwhelming power, the shadow quickly flew away, but Ming relentlessly pursued, increasing his speed more and more. Under the heavy barrage of Ming's attacks, the shadow was forced to the ground. It quickly tried to take flight again, but Ming was already upon it, pouncing and striking it down. The shadow crashed heavily into the earth, creating a massive crater from the impact. Ming stood at the edge of the crater, staring down for a moment. He then applied a magical enhancement, descended toward the shadow, and exchanged brutal blows with it. Ming was in complete control, utilizing his smoke. The shadow began turning pitch black, and its arm crumbled away. But miraculously, the shadow regenerated and even unleashed the 4 primal powers. It thought to itself, "I cannot allow this to continue. I must kill Ming and Lu right now, as they are hindering our invasion." It unleashed its strongest skills, took to the air, and fired a devastating beam at Ming. But Ming moved swiftly and easily dodged the beam. The shadow took things further, absorbing every last drop of corrupt energy from all the monsters in the area. Consequently, all those monsters died. The shadow then formed a spear 1,000 meters long, which radiated dark energy across the entire region. As the energy condensed, the spear's size shrank, yet it retained the devastating power to destroy thrones. It gripped the spear tightly and prepared to strike, while Ming stomped the ground forcefully to display his bravery. The shadow told him, "I am not surprised. I fully expected you to defend your master, even if it means dying right now." Suddenly, Ming's expanded domain imploded. Instead of expanding further, it shrank and was absorbed directly into his body. Because of this, Ming's shields expanded, and he let out a powerful sonic blast that destroyed the surrounding area, as if a bomb had detonated. The shadow remained unfazed and launched its spear attack at Ming. The spear elongated massively as it shot toward Ming, who extended his claws forward and managed to block the strike. The exact moment they collided, a colossal explosion rocked the entire world. When the dust settled, Ming stood unharmed, his feet planted firmly in the ground, having used his entire shield to withstand the spear. The spear continued to press against the shield, but due to the shield's immense durability, the spear cracked, and its tip crumbled to pieces. Ming sensed his victory. Indeed, the shadow fell to its knees, and its entire body crumbled to ash. Far away in the palace, the king's shadow returned to his true body. He rose from his throne, boiling with rage. The sorcerers before him were terrified of his wrath. He roared, "I cannot believe this. How could a level 20 beast defeat my shadow?" He immediately opened his hand and recorded all the data on Lu and Ming, adding them directly to his assassination list. Let's return to our hero, Lu. He deactivated all his enhancement spells and felt severely exhausted and dizzy from the epic battle he had just endured. A message appeared, saying, "Congratulations, you have cleared the portal." Immediately after, the portal vanished, and Ming departed as well. Once outside, a window displayed all his accumulated points and achievements. He received a perfect score, all his stats increased, his spells upgraded, and his summoning skill reached the heavenly stage. Lu returned to his dorm. He specifically checked his stat window and realized it hadn't evolved yet. He needed to clear one more portal to upgrade it. Nevertheless, Lu was pleased because his enhancement spell's effectiveness had increased from 20 to 35%. Furthermore, his healing spell had evolved into Quick Heal, though its mana consumption had increased slightly. He checked the news and saw reports that humans enslaved in another world had been rescued by a hero wearing silver armor. Relieved to know the survivors were safe, Lu decided to go to sleep. The next morning, Maple barged into his room, absolutely furious. He yelled, "Wake up right now. Everyone in the bases is restless because a video of you fighting the three-headed snake was leaked. Your video ignited a fierce competition, and now everyone is fighting over missions just to beat your score." Wasting no time, Lu met up with his team. Chow informed him that the Bilong Academy students were clearing missions efficiently through teamwork. Fired up, Lu's team decided to resume their paused missions. Lu headed to the mission center and was surprised to see his rank had dropped significantly just because he was absent for a single day. Regardless, he chose a mission to kill a level 59 bear, along with a tier 6 mission. The receptionist was shocked, as not even the teachers could complete such tasks alone. Yang also caught wind of this, felt a bit worried, and decided to monitor Lu constantly via drones. An hour later, Lu arrived at the bear's location. The bear was sleeping but sensed someone nearby. It opened its eyes immediately, stood up angrily, and prepared to fight. Lu quickly stepped back to distance himself, saying, "I'll let Ming handle this." While doing so, he opened the shop and searched for some metals to buy, allowing his butterfly to absorb them. In the battle, Ming roared fiercely and used his gigantification skill. When the female soldier at the base saw his size, she couldn't believe it, but Yang told her, "This is not unusual. It's a triple S rank talent." Back to Ming, we discover he hadn't even finished his evolution yet. His size kept growing larger and larger. The bear, completely unbothered, readied its golden rings. Ming's terrifying shadow moved toward the bear, bringing its massive claws down to strike. In response, the bear raised its arms, resisting with maximum force and reinforcing its defense with the golden rings. It took a deep breath, inflated its muscles, and struck the shadow with its claws. Ming seized the opportunity, lunged at the bear from the side, and struck it directly. The bear bled and roared in severe pain, and the wound ignited with black fire. Ming closed in, his terrifying shadow looming behind him. The bear roared loudly, but then suddenly turned and ran away. Ming sprinted after it at top speed, closing the distance rapidly. In desperation, the bear released a strange blue energy. We learn this energy was a distress signal. The signal reached another colossal blue bear, which was asleep. Upon receiving it, the giant bear opened its eyes, visibly enraged. From its stature, we see it was taller than the mountains. It immediately rushed to save its subordinate. Moments later, This king bear finally arrived next to its subordinate and roared loudly. The lightning-like patterns on its body began to glow. It activated its power, which instantly resonated with the sky. Lu sensed the situation deteriorating, so he summoned his sword and cast enhancement spells on Ming. At that moment, the king bear charged at Ming, while Ming stood his ground, unleashing black fire all around him. The bear countered with its lightning, but Ming's shadow grew to reach the sky, declaring, "I am the sole ruler here." The bear noticed the shadow approaching and decided not to run, opting to face it head-on. As the shadow attacked with its claws, the bear lunged directly at it to block. A terrifying collision occurred, and both the bear and Ming locked heads. Using his chain ability, Ming completely bound the screaming bear. Despite this, the bear managed to break free, and their battle became unspeakably brutal. Lu didn't remain idle. He used spells to enhance Ming further, and Ming grew stronger and stronger. The golden subordinate bear figured out that Lu was the source of the buffs and charged terrifyingly toward him to kill him. Noticing this, Ming fired a blast of black fire that struck the golden bear, knocking it to the ground. The king bear took advantage of Ming's distraction, leaped into the air enveloped in lightning, and brought a devastating punch down on him. Lightning crackled, continuously striking Ming. Unfortunately, the fallen golden bear got back up and charged at Lu once more. Lu decided to retreat and ran swiftly from the area. But suddenly, a woman wearing strange armor appeared and stood right in front of the bear. She attacked it with her axe, and we discover that this woman was actually Teacher Fei. She struck the bear with her axe, unleashing massive energy that pierced its body, causing it to bleed. She then pulled the axe out and stepped back, leaving a very deep wound. The bear was infuriated and bared its claws to attack, but Fei didn't flinch. With a mere glance, she moved toward the bear, gracefully dodged its attack, and struck its chest with her axe, wounding it again. The bear roared in agony and decided to release its golden rings for one final, lethal attack. Fei released her blood energy. As the rings attacked her, her blood energy effectively shielded her. We then see her weapon expand massively in size. She immediately drove it into the bear's head, killing it. After she finished, she spoke to Lu. Lu asked her, "Why did you come here? You could get in trouble." She replied, "Don't worry. The most important thing is that you trust me, and we will get through any problem." Meanwhile, Ming relaxed as the threat to Lu was eliminated. He focused back on the king bear, shrinking his domain to form a dense shield. The two immediately exchanged brutal, savage blows, their battle turning into a fierce hand-to-hand brawl. Suddenly, mid-fight, a massive lightning bolt struck, separating Ming from the bear. The sky filled with dark thunderclouds, and Ming deduced that the next attack would be extremely dangerous. The sky looked incredibly unnatural, but Ming readied himself. He compressed his domain further, absorbing it into his body just like before. Filled with energy and radiating a terrifying aura, he stood on high ground, looking up at the sky with absolute confidence, ready for anything. The clouds swirled rapidly, and the bear let out a mighty roar, unleashing lightning that struck the sky, causing it to react. A colossal, beam-like lightning bolt descended directly toward Ming. Ming stood firm, but the attack was utterly terrifying, causing a massive explosion that destroyed a large portion of the forest. When the dust settled a bit, Ming was seen standing in the resulting crater, completely unharmed. The bear couldn't believe that Ming was still standing without a scratch after such a devastating attack. Now it was Ming's turn. He glared at the bear with cold eyes, suddenly pounced, and struck it with his claws. The bear tried to resist, but Ming pierced its body and killed it. Everyone at the base cheered and celebrated wildly, praising Ming and Lu. They replayed the footage of Ming withstanding that final lightning bolt, calling it a legendary display of endurance. Yang said, "Ming is a phenomenal beast. He managed to compress a domain into his body, a skill typical of kings. And he did it despite being so young." Time passed, and the next morning, a soldier handed Lu a box, informing him it was sent by Commander Yang. Lu thanked him, took the box to his room, and opened it. He was surprised to find amazing summoning resources inside. Realizing he could perform a new summon, he arranged the resources in a circle and cast the summoning spell. When the spell ended, a little girl appeared. She had golden wings and radiated pure, heavenly energy. Lu was amazed and wondered, "What exact race is this? Because she's definitely not a monster." He soon discovered she was an angel. He immediately recalled the angel skill he had seen before and was surprised, knowing that the angelic race usually refused to be summoned due to their arrogance and overwhelming power. Looking closer, he noticed her wings were injured and she seemed on the verge of death. He smiled warmly, trying to reassure her, and touched her to check her exact loyalty level. Initiating the loyalty test, a powerful connection formed between them, and Lu realized that this angel would never abandon him. as her loyalty was absolute. After a moment, the atmosphere calmed, and Lu felt significant mental exhaustion. A congratulatory message appeared, stating that the angel had acquired a skill called sun and moon rotation. Suddenly, the angel took flight, her wounds healing completely. A glowing golden symbol appeared on her chest. She opened her eyes. Her left eye contained a fierce, burning sun, while her right eye held a calm, tranquil moon. Finally, she spread her wings, approached Lu, grabbed his clothes, and called him master. Lu smiled and asked for her name. Knowing angels are born with names, she replied, I am Diana, and I am 10 days old. Lu asked her, I want to know, why did you agree to the summoning contract in the first place? Hearing this, Diana looked sad and began to cry as she remembered her past. She told Lu that she had fallen from a tree and was suddenly attacked by a terrifying dark power, and literally everyone she knew vanished. Lu understood that Diana's world had likely been invaded, and his summoning was her lifeline. He comforted her, saying, don't worry, someday, I will return you to your world. Diana was thrilled and thanked him happily. He then checked her stats and learned she was at level 20. Providing a 50% enhancement to all stats. He also discovered she had a skill called illumination, which conjured a healing beam for all wounds, doubling as a protective barrier against any attack. In addition, her sun and moon rotation skill was influenced by the presence of the sun and moon in the world. Lu was amazed, noting, Diana's power is absolutely terrifying. He then returned her to the summoning space. Later, Lu went downstairs. Everyone at the base stared at him eagerly, desperate to see his new summon. But since he had already dismissed Diana, they were all disappointed they couldn't see her. Yang told himself, this won't do. I must find a way to see this new summon. But he quickly calmed down, knowing he would see it soon enough when Lu went out to hunt. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the dark mountains. A scarred, cloaked young man was muttering incomprehensible words. Suddenly, the sky shattered like glass, revealing a dark portal. Massive numbers of corrupt monsters emerged, their power levels ranging between the 4th and 5th rings. The stronger monsters couldn't enter because the passageway was unstable and would collapse, and opening a stronger one would alert the humans. The monsters began to laugh, radiating a terrifying corrupt aura that affected even the cloaked young man. He was genuinely scared but hid it, demanding, I want my reward right now. The monster commander looked at him with contempt and said, fine, take this bag. The traitorous boy who opened the portal took the bag happily. He looked inside and was overjoyed to find amazing resources that would significantly boost his power. The commander ordered, don't waste my time. Give me the names of all the geniuses in this area right now. The traitor handed him a piece of paper with all the names, specifically warning him about the one named Lu. The commander was puzzled, asking, why should I be wary of a mere level 16 beginner? The traitor explained everything, even showing him the video of Lu defeating a boss 28 levels higher than him. The commander was shocked and said, Lu's power rivals that of the corrupt kings. We must kill him as soon as possible because he is a major threat to us. The commander's sister intervened, saying, don't worry about this boy Lu. Leave him to me. I'll handle him. The commander agreed, knowing his sister would turn Lu into a slave, which was ultimately better than killing him. He immediately ordered the rest of the monsters to hunt down and kill everyone else on the list, leaving no survivors. The monsters rejoiced at the command and bolted at top speed to execute it. Moments later, the drones detected the presence of these monsters. The female officer was highly alarmed, wondering, how did these monsters even get here? She instantly ordered the evacuation of all trainees and the mobilization of the base's full combat force, broadcasting the orders to all areas. When Yang heard the news, he declared, I must go. The soldier realized that Yang was prepared to provide backup personally, despite his severe injury. She looked saddened that she wasn't strong enough to participate in such a battle, but she did her part at the command desk. At the same time, Rakely, the commander's sister, was searching for her target, Lu. After a while, she finally found him. She landed on the ground and said, I'm so lucky I found you this quickly. Lu looked exhausted from his relentless battles. The girl seized the opportunity, dashed toward him, and declared, you will be my new puppet. Lu sensed her corrupt aura and gave Ming the signal. Rakely arrived exactly in front of Ming. She looked into his eyes, spacing out for a few moments, feeling an overwhelming, inexplicable terror. Shaking it off, she launched a barrage of countless threads at Ming to take control of him. In response, Ming activated his golden shield, completely nullifying the threat attack. He then stared coldly into Rakely's eyes, and her terror deepened exponentially. To her, the entire world plunged into absolute darkness, leaving nothing visible except Ming's giant, glowing eyes. From the depths of that darkness, Ming lunged at her. Paralyzed by peak terror, she couldn't even move. Ming stomped her into the ground, and his black fire began to consume her. Everyone at the base cheered and celebrated this victory, declaring that as long as Lu was with them, he would protect them. A moment later, Ming communicated with Lu, informing him that Rakely was actually still alive. Lu instructed, "Don't let her go. Go back, hunt her down, and kill her right now." He assured Ming that he would be fine because Diana was with him to protect him from any danger. Ming obeyed and chased after Rakely, who, indeed, had not died. Rakely was now absolutely frantic, running at maximum speed. Even though she thought she had escaped, her only goal was to reach the portal to warn everyone about Lu's terrifying power. She wanted to tell them that their mission was impossible and that as long as Ming existed, he would slaughter them all. Unfortunately for her, Ming's terrifying speed allowed him to close the distance rapidly. He leaped into the air. Sensing him, Rakely tried to run faster, but Ming increased his size, reaching thousands of meters in mere seconds. Because of this, he covered a massive distance, landing exactly in front of her. Finally, he raised his massive foot, crushed her, and incinerated her completely with his flames. Meanwhile, Lu pondered his strategy, concluding, "Actually, the idea of Ming being far away from me isn't bad at all. Fighting separately will allow us to kill a much larger number of monsters." He implemented his new plan to eradicate every monster that had invaded their world. Using a small drone, he guided Ming to the targets he needed to eliminate. The drone flew ahead, and Ming followed it relentlessly to carry out his master's orders. At that moment, the female soldier who watched the battle was extremely amazed by Lu's rapid growth. She said, "In just 1 year, this boy will literally compete for the throne." Throughout history, the country has only produced 85 individuals who have ever competed for the throne. Those 85 entered fierce, grinding battles, leaving no more than 30 of them alive in the end. Meanwhile, Faye noticed the presence of the monsters. She readied her axe and dashed at lightning speed toward one of them, cutting it to shreds. Commander Lero arrived just in time, declaring, "I will handle this right now." He summoned a black spear and charged. He and Faye collided with all their might, the impact pushing both of them backward. Faye decided to increase the size of her axe. At the exact same moment, Lero launched himself at her like a bullet, striking the axe with his spear. Faye unleashed her blood energy, using it to strike the spear powerfully and shattering Lero's weapon. But Lero did not stay idle. He unleashed his corrupt energy, and all his followers did the exact same thing. A massive wave of corrupt energy shot out, heading straight for Faye. Fortunately, Faye's aura managed to protect her. She immediately went back on the offensive, attacking fiercely and striking Lero, forcing him to retreat. We noticed that wolf monsters had arrived at the scene, but Faye ignored them. She paused for a few seconds, looking anxious, and muttered to herself, "If my aura weakens even a little bit, the corruption will affect me." She immediately decided to resume her attack, knowing she had to end this fight as quickly as possible. On the other side, King noticed Faye's situation. He unleashed his maximum power and charged toward a level 56 monster, striking it mercilessly. He continued his relentless assault just so he could finish quickly and join Faye to help her. Lero was acting completely unnaturally. He drank a vial of blood, which caused him to evolve, pushing his power all the way to the throne level. Using his corrupt energy, he formed a spear and fired it exactly like a bullet at Faye. Unfortunately, this time the spear managed to hit her, piercing right through her armor. Faye began to bleed, but she remained standing normally on her feet. Lero started laughing and slowly walked toward her, taunting, "From this moment on, you will be my slave." But before he could do anything, a silver spear shot toward him. He managed to dodge it just in time. He looked to see who launched the attack and found Lu. Startled, he asked, "How did my sister not kill this boy?" Lu took a good look at the situation around him and realized he couldn't handle it alone. Therefore, he summoned Diana. An astonishing surge of energy erupted from her, filling the entire area. All the monsters were terrified, whereas Lero just laughed and told Lu, "I just want to thank you, because you brought me a weak little angel as a gift." Diana was annoyed by his words. She spread her wings, stared closely at Lero, and realized he possessed the exact same dark energy that had destroyed her world. She grew angrier and angrier. Taking to the sky, she folded her wings, and then forcefully spread them open again. Because of this, a massive surge of energy erupted, and a giant sun materialized behind her. Next, we see her body evolving, reaching the stage of a young adult. With this newfound power, she was able to completely purify the corrupt energy in the area. All the monsters became even more terrified and were entirely unable to move. Suddenly, the sunlight was obscured for a few seconds, and then, all at once, the sun erupted with a terrifying energy that covered the entire world. Literally, the sun's size expanded massively, and its sheer heat burned all the corrupt monsters. Even Lero himself stood beneath the sun, burning and screaming in agony. He generated dark energy to try and protect himself. But of course, the sun's power was overwhelming. It pierced right through his dark aura and burned him again. At that moment, Faye couldn't believe her eyes. She said, Lu has literally reached a stage far beyond ordinary geniuses because it's not normal for him to be able to summon this angel. She was also surprised to find that the sunlight began healing her injuries. Similarly, King realized that all the pain in his body was vanishing. He rejoiced and started moving quickly once again. As for Lero, he muttered in disbelief, impossible. How could this happen? We were fooled by the book. Young angels aren't supposed to have any combat abilities at all. He looked at Diana and saw the massive sun looming above, then concluded, that's it, I'm probably going to die now. Because of this, he decided to unleash absolutely everything he had at Diana. Diana continued her assault, forging golden swords and firing them at him. She successfully pierced his body with great force, making him collapse to the ground. She then refocused her power on the sun. All the corrupt monsters suffered even more and tried to flee, but it was over. Their very souls were being incinerated, leaving them completely paralyzed. Lero spoke up, his voice strained. I want everyone here to calm down, because backup is almost here. And indeed, the moment he said that, a group of humans dressed as dark priests arrived. When Faye saw them, she recognized them immediately as the wicked followers of the shadow. They completely ignored Faye and charged straight at Diana. Diana was still holding her ground, firing her solar flares and creating golden swords, striking with everything she had. She realized that her son's power likely wasn't working on them. So, she closed her eyes, and the moon appeared. The sun that was behind her transformed into a moon. Because of this moon, night fell over the entire area. Almost everything grew dim, and we see Diana's appearance changing entirely. She stood there with emotionless eyes. Then, 9 black rings appeared around her, spinning rapidly like buzzsaws. We learn that these rings are the blades of execution, and she used them to attack, slicing through the villains. Lero took advantage of the sun's absence, took to the air, unleashed a massive amount of energy, and attacked Diana again. But his spear couldn't even complete its attack, as one of the rings shattered it in seconds. More rings then targeted him directly. At the same time, the remaining monsters schemed, thinking that Lu was weaker than Diana, and if they killed Lu, it would be a major victory for them. They put their plan into action and ran toward him. A giant monster unleashed its energy and prepared to execute a completely lethal attack on Lu. Diana noticed this, took 2 rings, and hurled them together at the monsters. Suddenly, these 2 rings aligned, merged together, and generated an overwhelmingly tyrannical power that cleanly sliced the giant monster approaching Lu in half. At that moment, Lero was at a complete loss, asking himself, what exactly am I supposed to do? But Diana gave him absolutely no chance. She generated more and more rings and attacked with all of them. Lero grew extremely furious and expelled his dark energy, which he used to strike the rings and push them away. Afterward, he stood in front of Lu and asked, why would an angel of this power accept a summons from a mere human like you? Anyway, I don't want to hear an answer, because I am about to use my absolute final trump card. He then pressed a circle on his chest, emitting a very dark light, and a magic circle formed right beneath Lero. He told Lu, this power is the power of the throne. I was supposed to save it for another time, but I am forced to use it right now. He raised his hand and began chanting a spell. A colossal magic circle was drawn on the ground, and suddenly, an unimaginably terrifying monster appeared. Just the sheer pressure of its presence was so immense that King couldn't even breathe. Literally, this monster's aura brought death to all living creatures and vegetation around it. Diana tried to react. She raised her hand and turned the moon back into a sun. But unfortunately, the sun was unable to overcome this monster's darkness. Seeing this, Lu started to panic. But suddenly, Yang appeared, placed his hand on Lu's shoulder, and said, don't worry, I have been waiting for this throne-level monster for a while now. The king monster that had just appeared focused its target entirely on the base, wanting to destroy it. But suddenly, before it could do anything, a beam shot out from a summoning circle, and a human emerged from it. This human landed on the ground, and his mere descent caused the surrounding area to explode. The king couldn't believe it and said, this person, it is Chang. He spoke to him, asking, how could you leave the front lines in danger and come all the way here? Chang hovered in the air and replied, the danger doesn't matter. Humans are always living in danger anyway. The king grew annoyed, realizing he had walked right into a trap, but he shook it off and focused on the battle. Chang extended his hand and unleashed a terrifying power. He warned the humans in the area, if you haven't run away yet, you better do it now, confirming that anyone who stayed behind would most likely die. Everyone heard his warning and started running frantically. Yang stated, "This fight will be a battle of kings capable of wiping us all out in the blink of an eye." Returning to Chang, we see him surrounded by a massive energy aura. At the same time, the evil king unleashed his dark energy. The powers of the two titans clashed violently. Meanwhile, we notice that many monsters began to flood the area. Lu decided to step in and fight, but Yang stopped him, saying, "Let Diana fight in your place, and you run away." Lu considered this and agreed, mainly because his butterfly hadn't evolved for a while, and the current level of the monsters was too high for him. He could get seriously hurt. From there, Diana began battling the extremely powerful monsters. Yang informed Lu that Diana was roughly as strong as Ming, and soon, both of them would reach the power of the throne. He assured Lu that this would be a massive victory for humanity. He then began explaining the plan they had been executing from the very start. He told him, "From the very beginning, we deliberately fed the traitors information about our base just to lure out the monsters and kill this king who just appeared." The plan sounded solid, but Lu felt sad because there were so many casualties. Yang told him, "It is true that many people died because of this battle, but war always demands a heavy toll." As time passed, Ming and Diana almost completely wiped out all the present monsters and returned to Lu's side. After exactly 10 hours had passed, we see Chang's domain vanishing as he approached the base. Yang sprinted quickly toward him and supported him, as Chang was heavily injured, bleeding profusely, and barely able to stand. Yang spoke to him, asking, "Are you okay?" Chang replied with sheer arrogance, "That was a very easy fight." Diana immediately released her power and began healing Chang, as it was obvious to her that he was severely afflicted by the corrupt energy. Chang told her, "Don't, the corrupt power will harm you." But then he realized she was an angel, thanked her, and asked her to continue the treatment. Diana continued until she began to look exhausted. Chang told her, "That's enough, I'm fine now," hiding all the lingering pain he still felt. At that moment, Yang interrupted, introducing Lu to Chang. "This person right here is Lu, the one the monsters were targeting from the start." Chang looked at Lu, smiled, and said, "So this is the nation's new genius, huh? If he were at my level, he could probably destroy me." Lu welcomed him in return. Chang then spotted Ming and said, "This is awesome. I want to ride him for a bit." He actually tried to jump onto Ming's back, but Ming dodged, and Chang fell flat on the ground, completely stunned. He muttered, "I can't believe a beast would dare refuse to let me ride it." He then ran after Ming again, shouting, "You are going to let me ride you, by force." But Yang stepped in and said, "Calm down, what you're doing is unacceptable." Chang finally calmed down, though he clearly looked annoyed. He complained, "I've made so many sacrifices for humanity, and in return, they won't even let me ride their beasts." After that, he flew away from the area. As time passed, Lu headed to his dorm. Chang followed him inside, walked right in, and leaped onto the couch as if he were in his own home. Yang was also there and asked Chang, "How are the front lines of the war looking right now?" Chang replied, "Unfortunately, the situation is worsening. Even the curse inflicted on me is taking a heavy toll, completely halting my progress to the 10th tier." He continued, sadly, "Right now, the winged race is preparing for a devastating offensive aimed at wiping out all our geniuses. If we lose a single genius of ours in the war, it will be an irreplaceable, catastrophic loss. On the other hand, for the monsters, losing someone means absolutely nothing." He turned to Lu and said, "By the way, I believe in you, and I am certain you have a bright future." He then tossed him a bag of resources. Lu opened the bag and couldn't believe his eyes when he found life stones and incredibly expensive items inside. Yang told him, "By the way, this is just the beginning. We spare no expense for any genius." Lu was thrilled. Now, the entire nation had his back, protecting and supporting him. Chang also chimed in, "I've got your back too. If you ever need me, I am there for you." Lu then started calculating the resources he had acquired, and they turned out to be an immense amount far beyond his wildest imagination. When the conversation ended, Lu headed to the mountain to focus on evolving. There, he summoned Ming and tossed him all the life stones. Ming devoured them instantly, and we see him enveloped in his terrifying flames once again. Ming had now reached a third of his maximum power. Over time, Ming consumed all the monsters above level 50 in the region. Because of this, he evolved even further, and his size increased massively. Back at the base, everyone was celebrating because the immediate threat had vanished, making the region safe for years to come. Despite this, Yang remained anxious, knowing full well the situation was still perilous. Indeed, the monsters were not entirely wiped out. they were regrouping. The students grew worried and began to fall back. We see the entire forest filling with evil energy, and a truly terrifying monster was just awakening from its deep slumber. As time passed, Lu went back to Young, who thanked him and said, "You have done an incredible job with us here. Now, head over to the Wushan base to assist them." Lu agreed and said, "I actually wanted to go to other areas anyway, since there are no strong monsters left here. Killing the weak ones isn't helping me evolve." He prepared himself to leave alongside Diana. The students and soldiers gathered around to bid him farewell. Suddenly, King appeared, ran up to Lu to shake his hand, and warned him, "Keep in mind, the base you are heading to is in extreme danger." Faye also came to say goodbye, greeting Diana and telling her, "Take good care of yourself." Diana was puzzled by this and wondered, what exactly is this danger everyone keeps warning us about? But Lu reassured her, waved goodbye to everyone, boarded the plane, and took off.